శుక్లాంబరధరం విష్ణుం శశివర్ణం చతుర్భుజం ప్రసన్నవదనం ధ్యాయేత్ సర్వవిఘ్నోపశాంతయే. Om. Dear friends, we are seeing how Krishna initially told Arjuna at a philosophical level about his duty, and later he has come down to a practical level and he is saying, you are a Kshatriya. Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. This is a dharmyam, that is something which is totally in accordance with dharma, and if you do not do that, it is actually a dereliction of duty. He is going to say in the next shloka, that is 33rd shloka. We read this shloka number 32 yesterday, and the yadruchaya chopapannam, he was saying, this is something which has come to you. You have not craved for it. You are not a battle mongering person. You are not a war mongering person. That's what he said. 33, he says, Athachetvam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tataswadharmam kirtincha hitva papamavapsyasi. Athachet, in case you, Athachetvam dharmyam sangram, in case you do not participate in this war. If you say, no, I don't want to fight, and if you want to go away, it becomes actually a dereliction of duty. Tataha swadharmam kirtincha. You are losing two things. Number one is dereliction of duty, and all your fame also will go. You have earned a lot of fame. All that fame will disappear. Swadharmam kirtincha hitva. You lose all that, and papam avapsyasi. And what are you going to get? You will get papam also. Of course, when I was talking about dharma the other day, if you are following dharma, dharma karma leads to what is called punyam. And if you are not following dharma, you are doing something, on the other hand, you are doing something adharma, it leads to what is called papam. Punyam is something which is called a positive merit, let us say. And papam is something which is a negative merit, that is negative thing. And for punyam or papam, a person is supposed to get birth again and again and again. So that is what the whole system. That, of course, that also I am going to explain later. Now, what he simply says is, Swadharmam kirtincha hitva papam avapsyasi. You are going to get sin also. There is also a shloka in Mahabharata which says, a king has to punish those who deserve punishment, and he should not punish those who do not deserve punishment. And for not punishing somebody who deserves punishment, for punishing somebody who does not deserve punishment, a king goes to hell. Not only gets he gets ill fame, and he also goes to hell. Exactly, precisely the same thing here Geeta is saying. Adandyan dandayan raja, that shloka in Mahabharata, which again comes in Manusmriti again. Adandyan dandayan raja. Adandya means somebody who does not deserve punishment. A king gives punishment to him. Or otherwise, dandyan shaiva pyadandayan, a person who deserves punishment. Adandayan, he doesn't give punishment. So this is our basic principle in jurisprudence. That is, every wrongdoer should be punished, and no innocent man should be punished. No innocent man should be punished, and no wrongdoer should be let off. That is what our jurisprudence says. But unfortunately, we have adopted the Western jurisprudence. The Western jurisprudence says, let 100 criminals escape. Let not one innocent man get punishment. That is the Western jurisprudence. Of course, in the West again, some countries, they have got a totally different system called France, for example. They have got a system where the inquisitorial system of jurisprudence, where the investigator investigates and then he is a prosecutor also. So that type of thing. I will not go deep into that. Whereas that the basic system is that let 100 criminals go free. Let not one innocent be punished. So that is the reason why in our system, in our situation, we are facing so many problems, so much of injustice which goes on. So many criminals, they go scot-free. They keep on doing the same crime again and again. For example, in China, every year, hundreds of top people in the society, hundreds of top fellows, maybe they may be bureaucrats, they may be some big company chiefs, CEOs, etc. They do commit suicide in China. Why? Because suddenly some charges of corruption come up. Charges of corruption means, then if it is proved, obviously he is going to hang. So instead of getting hanged, to avoid that shame, they do commit suicide every year in China. So that fear is there, fear of law is there. But unfortunately, we don't have any fear of law. Anyway, tata swadharmam kirtincha hitva papam avapsyasi, he says. The next shloka he elaborates. akirtinchapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtir maranadatirichyate. That is, bhutani, all the beings, akirtincha kathayishyanti te avyayam. That is your akirti, or rather your this sort of failure of failure in discharging your duty. That will be talked about for a long, long time. Bhutani kathayishyanti te avyayam. For a long, long time they will be talking about, oh, this Arjuna, he was such a timid man, he just fizzled out and then he ran away. He was such a sissy man, he was so, what can we say, he was so faint-hearted, something like that. And sambhavitasya cha akirtihi. And for a man like you, who have been honored so well, you have won so many honors, you have won so many laurels as a great warrior. And for such a man, this akirti, this sort of ill fame, which is something which is something worse than death. Better to have death instead of this or facing this sort of ill fame. So this here again, not much is there. Next shloka again he says, Bhayad ranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharathaha yesham chatvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. And all these soldiers who are there in front of you, they regard you as a great fighter. And they have been regarding you. They have respect for you. They fear you. Yesham chatvam bahumato bhutva. You have been honored. You have been respected. You are feared by all of these people. And now what will they say? Bhayad ranad uparatam. So they will all say, oh, this Arjuna, we were thinking he was a great man. He is something like in Hyderabad, there is a word called Tismar Khan. So we were thinking that he is like that. But then this gentleman, he ran away, he quit the battle and he escaped. So Bhayad ranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharatha. All these people who are maharathis, and you are also a maharatha, and you are a person who can't run away from the battle. And what will they do? They will say, and yasyasi laghavam. Laghavam means you will become petty. You will be taken lightly. Laghavam, laghu in Sanskrit is the same as light in English. Light. Light means not this light. Light means heavy. In terms of weight, light weight. Let us say that light, light and laghu, they are cognate words. Then next he says, avachya vadansya bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. What greater misery, what greater situation or worst situation will be there than this, because all the people will be talking ill of you. Avachya vadan, something which avachyam is unprintable. Nowadays we use the word called unprintable. Avachyam exactly means the same. Vachyam means that which can be told. Avachyam means that which cannot be told. So they will in their private talk, they will use such unutterable words or rather unprintable words against you. Nowadays, of course, we have got all this media like Twitter and Facebook, etc., etc. So every day we see so many comments on Twitter by so many political leaders, on so many big people. So all these Twitter comments. So in those days, of course, Twitter was not there. Probably they had some other channels. Avachya vadansya bahun vadishyanti tava ahitaha. Ahitaha means enemies. All the people who are opposed to you, all the people who are ill disposed to you. The people who are ill disposed to you, naturally, they will talk very, very ill about you. They will talk all types of unprintable words about you, all types of foul words against you. And nindantaha tava samarthyam. They will say this in Arjuna is a man, is actually a featherweight. Nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. What greater grief is there? What can be more intolerable than this? Now he says in 37th shloka, Hatova prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshyase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krutanischayah. Hatova prapsyasi swargam. In case you die, you are going to attain heaven. Hatova prapsyasi swargam. We know that in all the traditions I was telling you, a person who dies in battle, a righteous battle, he goes to heaven. That is what is there in all traditions. Hatova prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshyase mahim. If you win, you will enjoy the world. You will enjoy the rulership over the world. You means, of course, Dharmaraja may be the emperor, but naturally all the people will be enjoying. Bhima, Arjuna, all of them will be enjoying. You will be enjoying the world. Tasmadu tishta kaunteya. So here, what is it? Uttishta kaunteya, get up, he says, and yuddhaya krutanishyaya. You decide on this, which is dharmika war. So what exactly should we see? That is probably these are shlokas which have confused some people, and which prompted them to say that Arjuna wanted peace and Krishna wanted war. It's not like that. We have to see the overall context. We have to see the context in which Arjuna sought the help of Krishna, and Arjuna again, Krishna is not a warmongering person or anything like that. Krishna came as an advisor, and he is giving a bigger picture. He is giving a bigger picture of what is dharma and spirituality. And we can say, what is this spirituality? Fighting, is this spirituality? Yes, fighting is spirituality, because dharma is nothing but, it is his duty. It is the duty of Arjuna, and spirituality for a warrior is to fight. Spirituality for somebody, a Brahmana, is to observe Swadhyaya, Pravachana, etc. etc. Spirituality for a sannyasi is Abhayam Sarvabhutebhya. For example, when we see the sannyasins, a sannyasi is not supposed to harm anybody. Even if somebody harms him, he is not supposed to harm. That is Abhayam Sarvabhutebhya. When he takes up sannyasa, there are certain mantras. In those mantras, he also says this Abhayam Sarvabhutebhya Matta Swaha. So he in fact does Shraddham for himself. In fact, that means his ego is gone. His ego is totally gone. His self is totally gone, and he is one with that supreme reality. So that is what the status of sannyasi is. So when he is doing what is called Atma Shraddham, so totally eliminating his ego, he is not supposed to counter. When somebody does some harm, he tolerates it. He tolerates it. He just smiles at it, and maybe 100 times he smiles, and the other man will he himself will feel bad, he will repent. So a sannyasi, he is not supposed to harm. That is his dharma. Whereas a kshatriya is supposed to fight a righteous war. That is his dharma. So for every man, the dharma changes. For every man means for every person of a particular category, there is a particular dharma for a kshatriya, another dharma for a sannyasi. So like that. So spirituality for a warrior is basically to go ahead with a rightful, or rather fighting for a principle, as we say now, fighting for a principle, and that too with a sort of equanimity, without any sort of hatred or anything, that as though you are a sort of justice. Suppose there is a judge. A judge is sitting over a particular case. So he is, suppose he has to give some death sentence to a very, very hardcore terrorist, let us say. A judge, when he is giving some death sentence to a terrorist, he should not feel sentimental. He should not feel sentimental, and he should not say, I am taking away this life of a man, I will go to hell, etc. etc. A judge will go to hell if he is not going to punish him. So that is the situation here. So Arjuna is in the position of that type of judge, because if there is an ordinary criminal, the ordinary criminal is brought to the court of law. But here, the criminal himself is the ruler. When the criminal himself is the ruler, that there is no other way to displace than to wage war. So that is the picture. So that war has to be fought with that equanimity, without a hate or anything like that, without a sense of hate or anger, basically from the point of view of justice. Then that is precisely what Krishna is saying in the next shloka, that you should have that equanimity of mind. You should not think this is a sort of personal battle between you and Duryodhana. It is a battle for dharma. It is a battle for justice and righteousness. So he says, Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Then he says, Sukha dukhe same krutva. You have this equanimity for all these dualities. What are they? First he talks about Sukha and Dukkha. Then Sukha dukhe same krutva. Then labha labhau. This same krutva to apply to this also. Labha labhau same krutva, jaya jayau same krutva. That means you treat them equally. So the first comes jaya and apajaya. That is winning or losing. If you win, it will lead to labha labha. Jaya jaya will lead to labha labha. And labha and alabha will lead to sukha and dukkha. That is, in case they gain victory, it leads to labha. And that labham leads to sukha. In case they lose, it will lead to alabha. Alabha means loss of the empire. And dukkha, it will lead to dukkha. So this is the Anvaya. This is in fact from From Jaya Jayav, Labha Labha to Sukha Dukha. Jaya Jayav is the cause for Labha Labha. Labha Labha will lead to Sukha and Dukha. So that is how this sloka see. So here what he says is, you have to be equanimous, you have to have that you have to have that equanimity of mind, that evenness of mind. So here actually he is about to introduce this principle of Nishkama karma. He has not exactly told Nishkama karma here. He is going to say after a couple of shlokas. In this shloka, basically is like sowing the seed. That is sowing the seed for this concept called Nishkama karma, where a person has to discharge his duty with a perfect equanimity of mind. In fact, this equanimity of mind, it is again not something which is newly introduced by Krishna or newly introduced by, say, Veda Vyasa. Because we know that this Gita is a summary of all the Upanishads. Gita, Sarvopanishado, Gavo, in the very first class, we were talking about all these Upanishads. If they are compared to cows, and the distilled wisdom of all these Upanishads is this Gita. That is what we were seeing. So here, what we see, that this is something which is a line from what is called Ishavasya Upanishad. In Ishavasya Upanishad, the very second sloka, it says, not sloka, mantra, it is called Upanishad. We don't say shloka. Shloka, we use that word shloka for the verses which we find in Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc., etc. But in the Veda, we don't call them shloka, we call them mantras. So the second mantra reads like this: Kurvanne veha karmani jijivishes shatagam samaha evam tvayinanyatetosti na karma lipyate nare. It reads like that. Kurvanne veha karmani jijivishes shatagam samaha. That is, a person has to live 100 years. Kurvanne veha, doing karmas. And doing karmas in what way? Na karma lipyate nare. That karma phala will not taint you. That karma phala will not be there. Kurvanne veha karmani jijivishet shatakam samaha evam tvayi nanyate tosti. This is the path for you. There is no other way. There is no other way. And if you are doing that karma in a proper way, that na karma lipyate nare. The karma phalam is not going to tag on to you. So that is what he says. And what is that proper way? What is the proper way of doing karma? So he is going to tell in the next few shlokas. So here in this shloka, what he is saying is, basically he is sowing the seed. He is introducing that concept lightly. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsesi. So papam is a result of dereliction of duty. So if you get engaged in this war with a mind of equanimity, or with that evenness of mind, so you are not going to attain sin. The next shloka is a slightly important shloka. So here, the 39th shloka. So he is now saying, so far I have told you from a philosophical point of view. Of course, for a philosophical point of view, lot many shlokas were there. From ordinary man's point of view, Loka Drushti also some 4 or 5 shlokas he said. Now he is just summing up the whole thing. So far I told you from a philosophical angle. Now I am telling you from another angle, how a person has to do karma. Now he is switching over to what is called karma yoga. So this particular shloka I will read. Yesha te bhihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. That is, Yesha te abhihita. So all this I have told you, that it has been told to you, Sankhye Buddhi, Yesha Sankhye Buddhi te abhihita. That is, all this thing which is relating to what is called Sankhya, I told you. And now Yoge tu imam shrunu. Tu on the other hand, Yoge Buddhi. Sankhye Buddhi I told you, Yoga Buddhi I am going to tell you. Listen, I am going to tell you what is that Buddhi. Then Buddhya Yukto Yaya Partha. Yaya Buddhya Yuktaha. If you are associated with that particular Buddhi, Buddhi means here, not intellect, Buddhi means that attitude to work. From that point of view, in that sense it is used. Buddhya Yukto Yaya. That is, Yaya Buddhya Yuktaha means with that frame of mind, with that attitude to work, if you do your work, karma bandham prahasyasi. You are going to go beyond this karma bandha. So we have to see what exactly is this Sankhya Buddhi, what exactly is called yoga, and what is called karma, and what is called karma bandham. We will see that tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.